Welcome to an episode of It's Debatable. I'm your host, Sebastian, here with co-host Justin, and we talking NBA basketball. Quite specifically, we talking about DeAndre Ayton, man. You know, we was gonna jump right into talk about subjects, see how each other feeling, but we was already having a discussion already before the pod started, so we might as well jump into it right now. DeAndre Ayton the other night came out after a loss against what team?
I think we lost to Orlando, right?
Orlando, yes. And
Mhm.
then he said, quote unquote, they try to treat me like I'm Clint Capella. I ain't no Clint Capella. All right, cool. Respectfully so. Your game is more versatile. You definitely could do more than Clint Capella. Fair enough.
So stop right there. So he said the truth.
Yeah. I ain't
Okay.
saying nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
I ain't saying he didn't say the truth. He's not Clint Capella.
Okay.
But now let's talk about this now. So you say you're not Clint Capella, then proceed to have 4 points.
Yes, proceeded to have a bad game.
Proceeded to have a bad game. Clint Capella had a better game and said, You have two of the best playmakers in the league.
Apples and oranges, they had the damn near the same stat. It was not that much of a difference.
My
Let's
son
not.
had 4 blocks.
I'm just saying, let's not drag it. If we're gonna talk facts,
Now we
let's
gonna
not
drag it.
drag it. Make it
Now
seem
we
like
gonna
quick.
gas it. We
Hold on,
gonna
hold on,
gas
hold on. Seb, I'm agreeing with you. If you want to say just a plain fact who had a better game, you can say Clint Capella. That's like comparing an apple and an orange, bro. It wasn't that big of a difference. I will get it if you had a 2020 game. I'll be like, you got it. I can't say nothing. It wasn't that different, bro.
Now you gotta lock in, gang, man. You're looking soft, brother. And for one, you're making me want to take back the little praise I gave you in the beginning of the season, though. Because it started off with me saying this not gonna work. Then I said, you know what? DeAndre Ayton might revitalize this shit. Said now I'm seeing reports niggas gotta put motivation on your fucking on your water bottle. Niggas gotta keep gas. You a grown ass man, bro. Nobody gotta gas you up to hey, come on, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Nigga, lock the fuck in, nigga. You playing for the purple and gold. This is a historic franchise, bro. Why niggas gotta put motivation on you in your fucking water bottle? Oh, DeAndre Ayton, you can do this. Here, motivation, domination on your water bottle, nigga. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Lock the fuck in, man. Lock the fuck in. There is no way a grown man like that playing for a historic franchise where they had the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars of the world. They had the Shaq, the Pau Gasol, the Andrew Bynums. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anthony Davis. Think about all the historic bigs that has played for the Lakers.
Well, okay, so
And
let's
you gonna
start
come in
right.
here and be
Hold on,
subpar?
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. So we really gotta dissect everything. Is DeAndre Ayton playing up to his potential right now? No, but he's not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So let's stop that right there. He's not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So said, don't even try to throw all these grades now. He's not. You never thought that. I never. No one
I'm
in
not.
the world, probably besides DeAndre Ayton, would ever even think something like that.
I don't even
So
think
let's
DeAndre
stop. So,
Ayton's thinking himself
so,
like
so, so
that.
let's stop right there. He's not Shaquille O'Neal either. Shaquille O'Neal was one of the most dominant centers of all time. He's not. He's not Shaquille O'Neal. Now, if you want to bring up the Pau Gasol, the Andrew Bynums, I feel them also playing with a Kobe Bryant, right? Who, would expect a certain amount out of his players, or he damn near might embarrass you on the court, like literally like sub you out himself. He had a certain standard. Luca, he was the best player on the court, right? To Kobe Bryant. Luca Doncic is the best player on the team right now. Do you think he got that same mentality?
I don't know, but somebody gotta wake him up,
All
man.
right, so no, hold on. We can't just say something then just say but to move on. He's not Luka Doncic doesn't have that same mentality, nor that he tries to get that same pull out of his players from what we see behind closed doors. I don't know what conversations they have. We none of us would know that. But if we're going to what we see, this Lakers team, I don't see no type of motivation right now. I feel like when I watch them play, they're sort of just cruising through right now because at the end of the day, they're the sixth seed out of the play-in, and all Lakers games get more attention on it because it's the Lakers brand, right? I feel like at the beginning of the season, they got off to a hot start and then they slowed down like a whole bunch of teams, right? Look at your Knicks squad. They came into the season with the utmost expectations. They got to run through the East. The East is weak. Has that happened?
No, it's a fighting
Okay,
right.
but we're not really going to talk about that because it's not the Lakers. There's a whole bunch of teams that aren't meeting up to expectations. And it's just is what it is. But we can't act like they're the 10th seed, 11th seed. They're a lottery team because that's not what it is either.
So what is
When
it?
when they're a middle of the pack team,
But
and we gotta see, right, if they make the playoffs. And I'm just saying if, because you can say that with any, you never know what could happen, right? If they make the playoffs, what matchup they're gonna get, and then you gotta go from there. But for all this media to nitpick every single game, I watched the Phoenix game last night. I think that was a bad look, right? They played down to their competition. You didn't have Devin Booker. You was missing Dylan Brooks. You was missing a lot of key players, right? And it wasn't like Phoenix blew them out. It was a close game. Came down to that last play. Austin Reeves couldn't knock down that shot. You lost the game. The bigger problem is that the team is not good defensively. You can't you can't stop the common cold, right? They just aren't good. LeBron isn't that defender anymore. Luka Doncic isn't a defender. Austin Reeves isn't a defender. Right? So your three best players aren't defenders. They just can't stop anybody. Right? And I think what they were banking on was that their offense is going to be good enough just to get them through. Which is kind of doing because they're the sixth seed, I believe 2 games out of 5. Right? We also got to look there in the Western Conference. You play a lot of the great teams. Teams are better than them, right? San Antonio is better than them just based off how they're constructed. Oklahoma City is better than them based off how they're constructed. Denver is better than them how they're constructed, right? It just is what it is. They didn't make too many moves at the trade deadline, right? I gotta look at the people up top for that. All you did was get a Luke Kennard, which is a great addition. He hasn't been playing bad, but he's not a world stopper. This team is what it is, and it literally cannot change because there's nothing you can do, right? And there's no one really in the buyout market that's really going to change anything. This team is what it is, and it's not changing. But if we want to look at DeAndre Ayton, granted, because once again he's not playing up to his potential. But I think the bigger thing is I gotta look at a Luka Doncic, right? Who does a lot of complaining, who doesn't get back on defense, right? I'm not seeing a lot of ball movement, right? These are all things that we have to look at. What are we really getting from the bench? You feel me? So I feel like there's a lot of problems, right? And I think it's the fun thing to do. Yeah, DeAndre Ayton and Clint Capella. It's funny. But I don't think that's the be all end all of what's really wrong with this team. Right? I think Luka Doncic is the best player on this team, and at times he's not being a great leader. Right? Because if you're the best player, a lot of times people are watching what you do. If we see that you take a contested um three 3-point shot and you feel like you was fouled and you're literally sitting on the floor looking at the refs and the whole game is going the other way, that's a bigger problem to me than DeAndre Ayton saying the truth that he's not Clint Capella, because he's not. Clint Capella can't do some of the things that DeAndre Ayton can do. Now, once again, to your point, does DeAndre Ayton got to lock in and play better? Yes. But you can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink it. Luca can't make DeAndre Ayton want to be better. LeBron James cannot make DeAndre Ayton want to play better. Austin Reeves cannot make DeAndre Ayton want to play better. Just like on the other hand, LeBron can't make Luca want to get back on defense. So there's a whole bunch of things we have to look at. But even with all those problems, they're the sixth seed because we do have a Luka Doncic that offensively is one of the most gifted offensive players that we've ever seen. We have an Austin Reeves that every year has gotten better and continues to make a name for himself. You still have a LeBron James that past 40 years old is still an all-star caliber player. And that's why we're just sitting literally in the middle of the pack. There's nothing more to it. Floor is yours.
so what it sounds like, and you make a lot of valid points, but it sounds like people can't check their egos at the door. Because for one, if when you say Luka Doncic has to get back on defense. That's been his problem since day one. Always complaining to the refs, always looking for a foul, always argue with the refs rather than get back on defense. That hasn't changed at all. And it's kind of an annoying thing to see though, because you're not gonna get every call and you give up a lot of fast break points like that. Like I wish there was like a metric or a statistic to show how much times Luka complains to the ref and somebody scores on the other end because of that. Because it gets to a point though. And like you said, Bron can't tell Luka to get back on defense, can't tell Aiden to play better. It sounds like a lot of players got a lot of egos for a lot of no good reasons. And why I'm so big on DeAndre Ayton is because, like I said, it's a historic franchise. And when we say, oh, why the media ridicules the Lakers, because every year with the Lakers is championship or bust. Like I know as a fan, you would just say, oh, we're in the middle of the pack or so. But to the media, to the narratives, that purple and gold, and Boston has a higher standard than most franchises in the NBA, though. When you think about the Lakers, even in the playoffs, you think about championship or bust because it's relevancy. Everybody loves the Lakers. Everybody loves Boston, man. They're tied in banners for a reason, man. Think about all the historic franchise players that came out of this. So, of course, people are going to think that highly of the Lakers, man. Nobody's going to want to just marginalize them into being in the middle of the pack. Everybody want to see greatness for the Lakers. When the Lakers are one of the best teams in the NBA and they're top 5 record in the NBA, everybody's talking about, oh, this, that, and the third. I'm a fan of that. But I won't settle for mediocrity, especially from a big man that said that he's trying to revitalize his career by coming to LA. I just can't. And, this is not to totally bash him, though, but I hate seeing shit like that. Like, this already be a battery on your back. And a couple times when I watched DeAndre Ayton play, and I've seen a lot of Lakers games throughout the season where they're rolling, where they take him out the game and they're rolling. Luka's getting a full thing. Jackson Hayes has a little spark. I even see, Rui Hachimura looks better on the floor. I don't know why, but he looks better on the floor out there. And, I see this team a couple of times. I'm just like, they have that spark to where they get it going. But then a lot of times I just see them as just nonchalant. Like if things don't go their way, everybody's slow to get back on defense. Everybody's pouting. I don't know what it is, though. But when I look at DeAndre Ayton especially, and that's why I'm so critical of it, because Luka Doncic, you know what you could get. There's only so much critique you could give to somebody that puts up damn near 30 a night. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't get back on defense, though, but who's covering most of our points? Same thing with Austin Reeves and LeBron. Like, who's doing all the facilitating, all the dirty work? You got to be an X factor guy. Like, when I say X factor, I say you're a dominant big man. You got to set a real screen. You got to get to that paint. You got to make it so that the center spot, that paint is yours to dominate. So now defenses got to reel in on you, and it gives more opportunity to force plays. When I see you being lackadaisical and taking just a pick and pop mid-range jump shot, you're selling the defense short. So I've been picking on DeAndre Ayton since he's got to LA, because I'm just like, you're in a bigger magnitude, you're in a bigger franchise, so everything you do is going to be limelighted a little bit more. Like, it's LA we're talking about. You know how much people got ridiculed when there was in LA? Russell Westbrook, D'Angelo Russell, like the list goes on. Like Lonzo Ball, like everything you do could be the littlest shit. If you did that shit in Detroit, if you did that shit in fucking Sacramento, nobody would give a fuck. We would not be talking about DeAndre Ayton anywhere else. Just, I feel like as the Lakers, bro, as that historic franchise, everything you do gets to a grain of tea. Like, that's why we don't really slander Austin Reeves like that, because he's gotten better every chance he's gotten. Even a guy like, I'm surprised, Marcus Smart, and he does a little crazy shit here and there though. But I've actually grown to like Marcus Smart on LA. I feel like he's fit in his role relatively well. But it doesn't matter who you are. At a point in time, you're going to get everything you're going to do is going to get maximized to a certain extent. So that's why I'm a little more critical on Aiden. To your point about them being in the middle of the pack, it's right where you're supposed to be. Like, the West is competitive as fuck. You lose 2 games in a row, you could find yourself in a plane. You win 3 games in a row, you could be in the 4th seed. That's been the West for God knows how long now. But that's the reality of it. And then there's what the media portrays and what we're accustomed to seeing when it comes to purple and gold. And especially when we got a LeBron James and a Luka Doncic, I was thinking, especially around this time last year, where that duo was relatively new, and they was hitting their stride. They was like on a 9-game win streak before, I think, LeBron pulled a hamstring or something in that Boston game. I think they were hitting their stride. So it was just like, okay, year 2 should be scary. But I just don't think that they didn't have that continuity together. And this is a whole new team, but I think eventually they're going to hit their stride. I'm only saying this now because I gotta critique what I see, but I'm not gonna give up on the Lakers though because I feel like a lot of times when they hit their stride, it looks good. And we don't have that much games left in the season, maybe like 22, 21 games left in the season, so they gotta hit their stride eventually though. But I ain't giving up on them too soon though. I gotta see how the rest plays out of the season. I think they have a tough schedule coming up. I'm not too sure. I think they still got to see OKC a couple times, got to see Detroit. So I'm gonna really see what they made of. It's gonna be gut check time for them though.
Yeah, once again, I ain't gonna nitpick every single game because I would drive myself crazy. If that's the media's job, then that's their job. But at the end of the day, we gotta be realistic. Once again, who's scoring off the bench?
My son Luke, lefty Kennard.
Like, I don't see nothing from Dalton Connect. I
He
don't
still
see no,
plays.
I don't see no Bronny, right?
Oh,
I
collect
don't
them.
see, I don't
Yeah,
see no Nick Smith Jr. I don't see nothing really from Jared Vanderbilt, right? I'm not. You also need a bench to produce for you. So when the starters aren't playing as well, maybe to start a game, now your bench can give you a spark. They're not giving a spark either. So now, kind of to your point, Luca's gonna have to do everything. A LeBron James at 41 years old is going to have to try to do everything, and Austin Reeves is going to try to do everything. Like, there's so many other things that we could talk about. DeAndre Ayton is DeAndre Ayton. He's just stuck in his ways. Like he's not going to change. And this whole thing with the Lakers being a historic franchise, granted, they won a championship in every decade. Have they not? Have the
yeah,
Lakers this decade not won a championship?
yeah, I agree to that.
All right, so what about these teams that are winning championships?
It
You gotta the name is the name, but you gotta say who's on the roster. We gotta get to a point. This isn't 2007. The NBA has evolved. I said at the beginning of the season, I feel like we're in the new era of the NBA. Oklahoma City is one of those prestigious teams right now, right? We see the New York Knicks becoming once again one of those prestigious teams, how they was back in the day. Things change,
No, no, man. I
right?
just when
We
I just hold the LA to a whole different standards. I'm
and you
just saying
can do that as a fan, but we gotta be realistic who's on the roster. That's like in WWE. What was the best era?
what was it, the ruthless aggression? Well, that's my opinion.
That's not what it is right now. It changed. Those same people, the Rock Stone Cold, aren't here. It's a different thing. So we're just gonna be delusional and say it's the purple and gold. It's the purple and gold. But who's inside the jersey?
LeBron James, Luka Doncic.
Once
When you
again,
but when you hear
you're
that though,
naming two players and you need a team set, not two
yeah,
players.
but when you hear
The
that though, hear me out.
NBA is more talented. Back in the day, you might get away with just having two players be great. The NBA is better. You
Yeah, I know.
can't just say LeBron at 41 and Luka Doncic and they're supposed to be the number two seed. You're not being realistic.
Listen, we live in a media where it's not realistic, where we put expectations on team, and when they don't see it, or even when they're struggling to to meet those expectations, they're gonna get criticized a lot. I'm not gonna criticize on a daily basis and go on these like first takes. I'm not
What
gonna.
do you right now at this roster? What seed do you feel the Lakers should be? Well, once again, within this Western Conference, putting all these other teams into this equation, what seed should the Lakers be to you?
Third or fourth,
Why?
because last year they finished third seed, and I think they have a better roster this year, in my opinion, though. So
But also other teams got better. Are we factoring that in?
oh yeah, we're gonna fight 100%. We're gonna factor it in though,
Right,
but
Kevin Durant went to a Houston Rockets. So did that team not get better?
yep,
Denver upgraded their roster, so did they not get better?
yeah, 100%.
Did San Antonio not get better? Did
Yeah, they got
OKC not just make trades to get better? Acquiring a Jared McCain. Did they not get better?
yes, they did get better. So we're
So
saying
you so
they
we
get
gotta
better.
say that too, not just because the Lakers were a playoff team last year, and now you feel that their roster is better, that they like the other teams got more better than them.
All I'm saying is this is a time and a place to lock in. This was a 50-win team last season.
Okay.
With a certain amount of games left to go, I just want to see a stride though. But that's just me though. But I ain't gonna spend too much time talking it. Anything else you want to say about your Lakers?
Nah.
I bet. So we're gonna move on to another team in the West, which is the San Antonio Spurs. A team right now that's one of the hottest teams thus far in the NBA. On an 11-game win streak. They're doing a thing with Wemby, without Wemby. It doesn't really matter for them though. Um, I'm seeing guys like Stephon Castle hitting their second year stride. I'm seeing guys like Devin Vassell flourishing in his role. I see a team when I watch this team. I see a team right now that plays for one another. There's no egos on this team. Sort of. I feel like it's like the OKC. And I credit this to just rebuilding and working through the draft and developing players. I think more so that's what we're getting now out of the new NBA. More so homegrown teams rather than just through free agency, getting X, Y, and Z. I think the draft and just trading for picks has benefited these teams. And to a point, nobody's gonna say this though, because it's a bad thing though. But tanking has definitely helped, bro. When you tank, you could get a lottery pick, and then you might get guys like Victor Wembanyama, Cade Cunningham, Anthony Edwards. That's the type of players you get when you tank. Because if my team isn't good and we can't compete with the upper echelons in the NBA, what I'm gonna do? Keep trying to win games? No, I'm gonna tank. And guess what? I'm gonna lose these games. So when the draft comes around and I'm watching guys in college that has potential to take over the league or be a top player in the league, I'm gonna be in position to get them. Because guess what? My team can't compete and there's no free agents coming. But yeah, back to my point with just the San Antonio Spurs. This is a well-built roster from top to bottom. They did a great job in just free agency too, having a good backup big for Victor Wembanyama in the 7-footer and Luke Kennard. I see a guy like Keldon Johnson who went under the microscope and was in that Popovich system for a while. Played in the Olympics. I see him flourishing in his role now as a bench player, as a spark plug for them. I like what I've seen. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Dylan Harper, yes, that's what I want to say. Dylan Harper. I think Dylan Harper is going to be special in the next couple years when his game is really molded and he understands basketball more. I'm not saying he doesn't understand basketball right now, though, but when you get a feel of the game and through more experiences in the league, I think he's going to be special. You can't teach height and size. Like, I think for a 6'6" player to be mobile like that, to be at the guard, like it sort of resembles Cade Cunningham to me. If he could just get that jump shot down a little bit better, he's going to be a problem, though. But learning under the wings of guys like Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox, that whole guard core is definitely going to be explosive. So I'm looking at them right now. There may be, let me check where they're standing at right now. They're 1.5 game for the first seed. And OKC, I don't think that right now they can afford to lose. No, well, they can though, because first and second seed is not really that big of a difference though. But this is a team that they're gonna eventually see down the line. So be it if the Spurs can make it to the conference finals and OKC can make it to the conference finals, though. But I think that the Spurs are a big problem in the West, especially now that they know this stuff. I really want to say how they play in the playoffs because we all know the regular season is the regular season, right? You hit your strides in the regular season, you look good, you promising, you're like you could be a title contender. We all know, and we've watched basketball for damn near our whole lives now. The playoffs is a different atmosphere. We got to see what it takes. I'm really curious to see how this team plays in the playoffs, where you're playing 7 games, one team. The games get tight. The possessions get a little bit more or less. The games go under. Every possession counts, especially in the fourth quarter in the last 2 minutes, where the game feels like for the last 2 minutes it's like 10 minutes. Those are more valuable. I want to see how San Antonio adapts to that, especially Victor Wembanyama. I think that we're going to see our real first test of Wemby in the playoffs. And in that San Antonio versus Detroit game, one of my biggest takeaways, how can he adjust to the physicality? when I'm watching Detroit, and they revitalizing the bad boy Pistons over there. They're gonna rough you up. They're gonna play aggressive. They're gonna play full court defense. They're gonna do all that. Wemby was kind of getting like a little bullied there. I want to see how he responds though. You know what I'm saying? I really want to see how he responds though. This is a good team right now. But to get to that Western Conference Finals is an uphill battle though, because every team you face is gonna be good. Like your competition, and maybe in the first round you get a little bye with a team that's struggling. Maybe it's the Spurs. I mean, maybe it was the Suns, Warriors, or Blazers. Depends who make it out that plane. But for the most part, though, it's going to be a challenge. That second round and third round is really going to test to see how these players adjust in the playoffs, though. But for right now, though, I think that they're one of the better teams that can make it out the West, though, especially when you have a 7'4" demigod that damn near does everything. But that's only time to see it. That's all I wanted to ask you. And how do you feel about that?
I said this since the first week of the season that the Spurs was the biggest threat to Oklahoma City. Because they have the ultimate wild card in Victor Wembanyama. They have a young team just like Oklahoma City that likes to get up and down. Just with Victor Wembanyama on the floor, they're one of the top five defensive teams, and he's just an unstoppable player. Um, I like what I see from Stephon Castle. You spoke about Dylan Harper. They also have a Darren Fox that I feel like kind of gets swept under the rug. All star type of player that can get his own shot, can get to the basket, can play make. So this team just doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. Um, I think they're better than Oklahoma City. I think they are the best team in the Western Conference. And I think that once again, I said all this already. I picked them to go to the Western Conference Finals. Um, who will they meet there? We're going to have to wait and see. But yeah, San Antonio is legit, and every team in the Western Conference should be worried about them, not just this year, but for years to come. They have a great core. They have so many assets that they could make moves in the offseason to get even better. And yeah, the Spurs are just in a great spot. Like I feel like they had those 2 to 3 down years. Once that tenure of the Duncans and the Ginobilis, the Tony Parkers, and all them left. And, they tried to retool with Kawhi, LaMarcus Aldridge. Then they just completely restarted. And now they're about to just build another dynasty. So as a fan, it's fun to watch. And the next 10 years is just gonna look scary.
Shit, I wish I could say the next 10 years though, but we know with this new NBA and the salary cap more so, a lot of these players are gonna have to get paid, and then you're gonna have to make a decision moving forward who you pay and who you don't pay. And we've seen it now with the Boston Celtics where they had to let everybody go because you just can't afford to pay them. You got to pay your stars. Because I look at it, Wemby's got to get paid. You're definitely gonna have to pay Stephon Castle. I'm thinking about who else you got to pay. Does Devin Vassell get paid or you move on from him though? Because I feel like his deal's expiring soon. Um, yeah, in reality though, I think they have a good 4 to 5 year run to win a championship though, just off the strength that you can't pay everybody, and that's what this new NBA has definitely fucked up though in terms of dynasty though, and I think that's where Oklahoma City might run into a problem too, because eventually you're gonna have to pay some of these players what they're worth too, because they make your team what they are. They make your team the 50-win team. They make your team top of your conference. And eventually money's gonna fuck that all up, man. This axe Boston right now. They still do anything though. But you don't think they would love to still have Drew Holiday there, Porzingis, Al Horford, that same nuclear core for the most part, though. Eventually, money's gonna split it. But for right now, I think they're championship winners within the next 4 to 5 years. While you got players on their rookie deals. You got players, feel me, not getting the supermax yet. Because a guy like Wemby, you're gonna have to pay him the bag. Jaron Fox, if he makes an all NBA team, he's gonna want the max too as well. I'm looking at a lot of guys. Stephon Castle, if he makes a all star, all NBA defensive team, you're gonna have to pay him too. So it's gonna be tough though. That's what I'm saying. The core right now is legit, but they gotta win in the next 4 to 5 years because money is gonna try to break this team up. And it's gonna happen to a lot of good young teams eventually, though. Like you have a lot of solid players, but unless somebody decides to take a pay cut, which I don't see in today's NBA that much because they're handing out money, brother. They handing out money, brother. You got all these. You got Jalen Brown. Damn, they're making what 200, 300 M. They handing out money, brother. And you'd be a fool not to take what they offering though, unless money don't mean shit to you though, and it's all about winning. But shit, I don't see that in today's
Yeah,
NBA.
but so when was Tatum drafted?
2017.
So it's almost been 10 years, and they've had Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, and all you gotta do is retool the roster. That's the same thing. Like we're in 2026. It's almost been 10 years, right? So they'll always be in the mix. You have a Victor Wembanyama, you have a Stephon Castle, you have a Dylan Harper. All you gotta do now is just try to put the right parts around them. So I think their window is unlimited. This is a house with no windows. Because when have we even seen a player like a Victor Wembanyama?
Never.
So I don't want to put a cap on anything. I definitely understand everything you're saying, though, just with the salary cap and just things of that nature. But if the San Antonio Spurs are smart, and I believe this is one of the smartest franchises that we've seen in sports history, I think they know what they're doing and what they just have in their hand. Like this is the type of piece that comes once in a lifetime, right? You talk about generational talent. This is that type that you just don't see this.
That is true. I do feel that as well. But Spurs, legit contenders. Anybody that says so, it's out of your damn mind. Uh who do I want to talk about? Ooh, so we got a team right now who I feel as if ever since they made a couple moves can be sneaky in the future though. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on Atlanta's future. I'm not gonna talk about right now though, because they're still in playing purgatory how they've been. But Jonathan Kaminga made his season debut like 2 games ago. And my thing is this with the media. Everybody, let's pump the brakes. He had a good game. I'm not taking that away. But are we gonna not act like it wasn't against the Washington Wizards? Like, are we gonna just do that though? Like, it's cool to have a good first game, first debut. Everybody's saying, "Oh, Steve Kerr, oh, they messed up the Warriors of purgatory. Oh, Steve Kerr's a horrible coach." I get it. I'm one that said free JK, free Jonathan Kaminga. But can we give it like a 10-game sample or something? Jesus Christ. It's against the Washington Wizards, who they just played twice. The Washington Wizards are in full tank mode, man. Full tank mode. You don't see none of the stars playing though, so let's pump the brakes. I get it. JK is a good player. I'm not gonna say great player. He's a good player. He has potential. He did not deserve what he got in Golden State though. But let's pump the brakes and let's fully see how he adapts into Atlanta. Because don't get me wrong though, I'm a fan of what they got going on over there. I think they made the moves to get a lot of pieces. They have a lot of pieces, surprisingly so. Like I literally forgot a guy like Buddy Hield was over there, even though he racked up a bunch of DNPs. But I'm saying just a young group core. I like what they got: the Dyson Daniels of the world, the Jalen Johnson of the world, the Zachary Richardson, who I feel as if can be a suitable role player. He gives me like could have like a underlying Andrew Wiggins career. That's his potential. Like Andrew Wiggins' career, where you don't reach that full potential, but you could be very serviceable in this league. That's why I feel like where it is, where we stand with him. CJ McCollum, the vet. Um, Onyeka Okongwu, who I feel as if gotten is way better as of lately. And I'm looking at all of this. You could do something. And I didn't even mention Nikhil Alexander Walker, somebody who they got in free agency and has stepped his game up since being in Atlanta. So you got a cool core. And I'm very excited to see the future. I just wanted to hear your takes on that.
I need to see consistency. All these players sound great. Who's their best player on their team?
Jalen Johnson.
He is he a top 10 player in this league?
No, but I'll give him top 20. If that means
So
anything.
that's not moving the needle for me. You're naming a lot of good like players. Like Nikhil Alexander Walker is good. Akongwu is good. Dyson Daniels is good. Jonathan Kaminga is good. These are just good players. They're not. That's not really moving the needle for me. I think they need to continue to keep building. See if there's more trades that you can make, because to be a championship team, you need that type of guy. Right? Look in the Eastern Conference. Do they have that Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown type of player? I don't really see it on this roster. I don't see a Cade Cunningham type of player. I don't see a Luka Doncic type of player. I don't see a Shea Gilgeous Alexander type of player. I don't see an Anthony Edwards type of player. I don't see a Jokic type of player, a Wembanyama type of player. Jalen Johnson is not in that stratosphere. So
But
he's
where,
a excuse
where
me.
to be fair enough, we haven't seen it in the playoffs yet. So I really want to pump the brakes on that. All the players that you naming has been in the playoffs and show that their name matches their game. And we said this to where in the NBA playoffs, that's where you build your name. Your game has to show a lot for it. I haven't seen
Right.
that yet,
So
bro.
once again, I start off by saying I need to see consistency.
Can we see
Right.
this?
So he has to make a playoffs, right, leading that team. And then yes, show us. So up until that point, once again, like I just said, I'm not sold. And just projecting, I don't think he's on the going to be on the level of those players. I seen a Luka Doncic right in his rookie season. I knew transcendent, right? I seen a Victor Wembanyama rookie season transcendent, right? Even even a Jason Tatum and a Jalen Brown, we seen that young roster almost go to an NBA Finals until running into a LeBron James, right? I just don't. Jalen Johnson is great, and he's like almost a walking triple double, could fill up the stat sheet. But I think his ceiling compared to all those people I named is just very different. This Atlanta team has a lot of good pieces. Is it all going to work together? Maybe, but once again, I need to see a larger sample size. To your point, Jonathan Kaminga is a good player, great athlete, right? Can get up and down the floor. Great in transition. I think he needs to work on his jump shot. And once again, to your point, they were playing Washington. I'm not. I don't do what this media does. I like that you always bring up the narratives that they put, but I don't really give a fuck about it. That's what they do. They get paid to do it. Sh- shout out to them. But on this show, we say how we feel. There's not someone in our ear saying talk about the Lakers. And that's not what we do. I don't give a fuck what they're saying. Atlanta to me is just a decent team. I just need to see more.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I wanted to hear your take on that. I'm mad at it though. Definitely want to see Atlanta and what they're able to do.
I
But
think they could have did well, and in my opinion, I think when they had Trey Young, it was he to me is that guy. He's more of a transcendent player to me than being led by a Jalen Johnson.
I mean, based on history and him leading this team to I'll give you that. I can't argue
That's just
that.
my personal opinion.
Yeah,
Anyone
no, no,
that
I
feels
can't. I
different,
can't
add
argue your
that.
personal opinion. Like usually we'll debate about it. I can't debate about it right now though because I haven't seen what Jalen Johnson has his full capability yet. So you got me there. Like I was gonna say nah, but I have no facts or nothing to. I have
No,
no.
but you can feel that he's a better prospect. I wouldn't
No,
be
I could
mad at
feel
that.
like
He's
that.
not a
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
player.
Yeah, but I gotta have some type of facts or like something to bring to the table for us to debate. I literally have nothing, bro. You got me. You got me. I gotta just wait and see in this case scenario. I gotta wait and see. But
Right,
I
but
wanted to ask you though,
go ahead.
right now though, this is two teams right now that more than likely so for the rest of the year is going to be fighting for who gets the eight, who gets to go against whoever wins the 7 to 8 matchup. The 9 and 10th seed right now, two teams that right now are on a 3 game win streak. The Hawks right now, who we just spoke about, and the Charlotte Hornets, who slowly are just figuring themselves out and what they're capable to do. Right now, I think these are two young teams though. In your opinion, though, whose core do you like better? A core of the Charlotte Hornets, led by LaMelo Ball, Conker Nipple, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, or just the Atlanta Hawks?
Um, mm, I'll say Charlotte by an edge. Lamelo Ball. my gripe with him was that number one, he was having a lot of injuries. Sort of like what happened to Steph Curry right early in his career, just the lower body injuries, the ankles, things of that nature that was derailing him. And he just wasn't really impacting winning. But now you bring in a Con Knipple, right? You have a Brandon Miller there. You have a Miles Bridges who I guess is focused back on basketball and not music. I feel like that core right there. They also have that big man over there. I'm forgetting his name. The one that was in this.
Monte.
Right. He has some promise to him. So yeah, I think I mean it's not a huge discrepancy because I think both teams have very interesting players on their roster, but once again, I think Lamelo Ball's upside right is huger than Jalen Johnson's upside, right? I think Con Knipple, crazy enough, has a higher upside than a Jalen Johnson. Right, Con Knipple, and shout out to him for just breaking the rookie season record for made 3 pointers. I just think his IQ for the game is what separates him from other players and just other rookies in this class, and I think it shows. Brandon Miller, just his tenacity, his aggressiveness, his athleticism. I think that he has a higher upside than a Jonathan Kaminga. So I just think the players that they have just towards the top of their roster just has higher peaks than the top players on Atlanta. Um but the X factor to me that separates this whole thing is the LaMelo Ball, right? This is a guy that I feel if he was locked in, right, for a season, can average 25 and 10, right? Right? Can be that 30 and 10 player, right? Just with all the 3 pointers that he shoots. So if this team is locked into playing basketball, I think as we're seeing right now, they just have the higher ceiling.
I ain't mad at that though. I definitely see two teams that's rolling. Just even watching the Hornets game last night against the Indiana Pacers, they take a lot. They take and make a lot of threes, and they said out of their last maybe 4 to 5 games, they've hit over 73s though, which the modern day NBA loves. Like, if analytically speaking, if you could hit that amount of threes, you're going to be a scary team though. And it's a team right now just on the hop, just figured it out though. I think maturity has hit them at the right time. You know, like we said before, just all these players going Concanipple just being the player that he is in his rookie season, just elevating this team and helping space the floor. You really see that your core is going to be solid for years to come. I ain't mad at that. I'm really not though. So for the fans that's watching, we're gonna clip this. We want to ask y'all, who do y'all think is gonna have a higher ceiling between these two young teams, the Atlanta Hawk or the Charlotte Hornets? Comment down when we post this clip though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to get off your chest?
Um I guess we can just finish like this because you be trying to avoid it. How do you feel about your New York Knicks right now? I feel like we never talk about them at the beginning of the season. It was they're about to run through the Eastern Conference and all this, and now I don't hear anything. Go ahead.
How I feel about my New York Knicks? Great question. I was gonna save that for next episode. Give them a little.
Now he's gonna say it for next episode, everybody. Here we go.
Yeah. But how I feel about the New York Knicks? Literally, I posted my take. One of the takes that I had last year around this time, you know, in our memories on TikTok and stuff. I literally posted this. It's highs and lows once again, though. You have a team that damn near competes at the highest level, and then when you go against these competition teams, like the games that you're supposed to really stand up for, the the Detroit Pistons, the Cleveland Cavaliers, we get spanked. And I don't want to say history repeats itself because last year I had the same thing to where we lost to the Clevelands, we lost to the Boston, but then we beat a Boston team last year. But I can't keep repeating the same thing. I got to see something different. And what I'm noticing is right now we're falling back into the same system to where we're letting Jalen Brunson have a lot of usage rather than what we was doing in a free fall system in the beginning of the season, to where guys were starting to find themselves. Like what happened to the Tyler Kolicks of the world, the Jordan Clarkson, that if something is not working, we gotta adjust. A lot of times though, I see like our offense is stagnant, and this was supposed to be something that we fix with a Mike Brown in the system. I think also too, my thing is Karl Anthony Towns, and this is the media, and media is gonna say it though, but it's like we see it though, so it's not like people are picking on Karl Anthony Towns. They just want you to be more aggressive. And when I say aggressive, I'm not talking about shot hunting from threes. I'm talking about getting the post. There's no way you have a guard on you and you can't back him down. These are competitions you're supposed to stand up for. And I'm not gonna just keep bashing him because I feel like Karl Anthony Towns is still an all-star caliber player though. But from what I've seen from year one with him on the Knicks to how he was explosive in the first couple of months till now, he's sort of like regressed, more focusing on team emphasis though. But I don't know. It's internally. The Knicks, whatever they do is internally. When you lose these high marquee games, and it could have been bad too, because we dead could have lost to Houston too, because that game was a little bit out of control though, but they found a way to clutch up the window. But Cleveland, teams like Cleveland and Detroit, you can't, especially at the crib, you can't let Kate Cunningham walk into your house, drop 46, 13, and 8, and then get blown out. That can't happen though. And I know the fans would like to say, oh, yeah, this is all cute and wait to the playoffs, though. Those are mental notes. Detroit has a mental note in their head that every time they want to see us, that has to be belt to ass because of how we did them in the playoffs last year, though. Young teams don't forget about that. They actually stand up for those type of games. Cleveland now with James Harden, though, they're trying to figure it out, though. They're trying to be even more scary. Boston is low-key trying to ramp up Jason Tatum to make another run. This shit is not getting as sweet as we thought it was going to be in the beginning of the year. Oh, yeah, there's no team standing in our way. Feel me? Boston's hurt. Detroit's still young. Cleveland, Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton's out. Nah, bro. This shit is the whole opposite now, man. We got to stand on business. You got to lock in. Everybody has got to lock in, and it starts with Jalen Brunson. I know it's cool. We like to glorify Jalen Brunson for what he did for New York, but he has got to look himself in the mirror and say, what can I do to get this team back on track? Because since the All-Star break, though, he's been subpar. And nobody's going to say it. And I'm a Jalen Brunson fan. I'm a Jalen Brunson supporter. But when I watch Jalen Brunson, he has been struggling since All-Star break. Somebody has to call it. So I need Jalen Brunson to get back in that mode to where that second half of the season, he starts exploding for damn near that 28 points per game player to a 30-point per game player. Something has got to give. Mikal Bridges, 5 draft picks, brother. I'm going to keep 5 draft picks. I'm going to keep saying that, though, because the production that we get is so lackadaisical sometimes that I don't know. Iron Man plays every game. No disrespect. I just need a little bit more from Josh Hart. Some games you're here where you're hitting on all cylinders, your floor space, you're doing all of that. Other games is subpar. This team right now, and this is going to be one of their toughest stretches, though, because now you're playing majority teams of just contenders. Contenders. Cleveland, Detroit. You got San Antonio coming up. You just played Houston. You still got 2 games against the Thunder. You still got games against the Lakers. We got to go to Denver eventually. Who else am I missing? I believe we maybe have one more game against Detroit or not. Boston is still in there. It's still in your division. I'm naming teams that you still got to see. So this is gut check time for the New York Knicks too as well. This is where you need to be playing your best basketball. Actually, towards the end of the season, you got to find a stride. And I told about Lakers about finding their stride. You got to find your stride. Something's got to happen. I don't know if you need another team meeting or case maybe, but you got to find your stride because right now, teams are finding themselves. San Antonio just won 11. Detroit is comfortable right now, first seed. Boston ain't. They're not losing up. And if anything, they're more motivated now because they know that they got a Jason Tatum that might be on the way. He's been doing 5-on-5. He's working with it. That's a plus for a team that a lot of people say this was supposed to be a year off for them, but they're second seed. You still got to see that. Cleveland not going nowhere. Who else am I missing? Toronto, they're up and coming. Philly is figuring themselves out. And with Joel Embiid playing some games, some not, He's right now probably the healthiest he's going to be coming into the playoffs, though, because there's not going to be a wear and tear on his body. You still got to see that too. So it was all fun and games. We were like, oh yeah, nobody's going to see us now. But all the tables have turned, just, and I'm nervous. And as a fan, you should be nervous. It's cool to have, as New Yorkers, you have the utmost confidence in the world, though. But it's not going to be a walk in the park as we thought it was going to be, because we're not dominating how we're supposed to be. And that's why I said it's self inflicted. We're not playing up to par. We're not playing that knit and grit defense that turns into offense. We're not. Carl Anthony Towns is not should be playing better. Jalen Brunson, since All Star break, hasn't been playing better. Got to figure it out, man. We got to figure it out, and I'll leave it to you to end off the show.
No, yeah, I just agree to the well two things that it is that point in the season to where you should be trying to you should have your identity of what your team is, right? Because you got a lot of teams just trying to jockey for a position right now, and just trying to play their best basketball. Um, Jalen Brunson is gonna be Jalen Brunson. I'm not too worried about him. Well, yes, Carl Anthony Towns, who I do feel it is the X factor. Sort of like we want to talk about a DeAndre Ayton. You have another 7 footer with all the potential in the world who just needs to be more consistent and more aggressive. Just point blank, period. We understand that you want to be the best big man shooter and this, that, and the third, but you're not a Dirk Nowitzki, meaning that you got a whole different body type. You're over 260 pounds, and I feel like you can really change the way teams have to guard you, especially in a playoff setting, if you're just more aggressive. So that's something that I'm not really, and I gotta look at Mike Brown. I was about to call him Mike Woodson. Mike Brown, like you just gotta maybe switch up the offense then. If you know the X factor, right, is called Anthony Towns, then draw up more plays for him to be on the block, right? Look back at the old Lakers teams with Kobe and Shaq. You could argue till the end of time who was the 1A and 1B to that team. But they knew the most success was what? Starting off playing through Shaquille O'Neal. And then Kobe Bryant is going to come in that fourth quarter and close the game out, correct?
Yeah, just always keep Shaq involved.
So I do gotta look at once again Mike Brown and the type of offensive schemes that he is running, and I hope that he notices the type of players that he has at the top of his roster to try to get the most success out of them. The OGs and Anobis of the world, the Mikal Bridges, they are going to have to play better. Because to your point, they did give up a lot of assets to obtain a Mikal Bridges. Um, but yeah, once again, I feel like in the East, right? I believe they're like the fourth seed right now. I don't think they're better than Detroit just due to the fact I think if they just in that playoff series, I think Cade Cunningham would be the best player just in the series, right? And I feel like they know their identity. Even a Boston Celtics, right? This is a team that even without a Jason Tatum, you sort of just put Jalen Brown in that role, and everyone else knows what they have to do, right? The Derek Whites of the world, the Payton Pritchards, they know what is expected of them already. Also, them acquiring a Nikolai Vucevic, right, who can give you 15 and 10 on any given night. That's a team that's not going to play around either. Now, Cleveland, I'm not sure their ceiling now, also just due to the fact James Harden has this hand injury, and if he don't play well, that will be his excuse. So I'm not too sold on them. But look at a Toronto Raptors team. I think if they played the Knicks, that's an interesting series. You look at a Philadelphia 76ers. This is the best Joel Embiid has looked since he dropped 70 points on Victor Wembanyama. Also, just looking back at that, Joel Embiid, sorry to the injuries and all that, but probably would have been one of the best players ever. Because do you know we just said he dropped 70 on Wemby?
True that.
So I always feel bad for what happened to this man's career, whether it was him not keeping his body right or just freak injuries or just a mixture of both. But that's a team, with the Tyrese Maxeys of the world, right? That can give you 25 to 30 on any given night. I call him road runner. You have a VJ Edgecombe, right? That's a team you're going to have to be on the lookout for. So the Knicks don't have a cakewalk. They're gonna have to lock in. And if they want to get to the finals, Carl Anthony Towns is going to have to lock in, bro. Because we also gotta remember the Timberwolves gave him up for a reason.
True that.
So, you know, I just wanted to hear your take on that, seeing that I feel like that's a team that is flying under the radar, even though in the off season it was the Knicks about to win the championship. Next year they're going to the finals. Who everyone's hurt.
Me though, I set realistic standards. I
Oh no, no, don't do that now, sir. Don't do it now. You have realistic standards.
I have realistic standards. I want to go to the finals. I want to go to the finals. I just want to go to the finals. I just want to go to the finals, and then you'll take it from there, though. I think that's the next step. Championship wise, I'm just like, the West teams, though. You know what I'm saying? The West teams are tough, but you know what I'm saying, though. You anything short of the
Oh,
finals
and if
is
it's not this year, they ain't winning next year. Because then you will have a healthy Boston Celtics. We're forgetting about Indiana. Indiana will be great next year because we're forgetting they made that move from Zubac.
well, watch this. If we don't win this year, I want Kawhi Leonard. The tenure between the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard is over. Kawhi Leonard got to come to New York.
Okay, and Kawhi's playing great now. He's going to get older, and the body does not get healthier.
Listen, we'll give him all the PTO time he needs. Just be ready.
Like,
Just be ready. Just be ready when the playoff time comes. I'll give you all the PTO time you need. Listen, man, if we could get either OG or Mikal off for Kawhi Leonard, because I don't think that, you know what I'm saying, that the Clippers are going to hold on to Kawhi Leonard for too long, though, because he said it. He just said, our championship window's up. He's being real about the situation. And Steve Ballmer's going to have a decision to make. So what I'm saying, though, that's what I'm saying. If we don't succeed or don't get to the finals, you got to bring in Kawhi Leonard, man. I don't care if it's a 1-year rental. I don't care what it is, man. I think he gets it done. I think he'll be a piece. I think Kawhi Leonard in New York would definitely be special. Even if it's for 1 or 2 years and then he retires and then he leaves us fucked up. I think that's a player that you just gotta have on your roster because I know I need a go-to guy besides Brunson. A 6'7", 6'8" go-to guy. Like a real forward. Like this league is kind of ran by forwards like LeBron James, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Giannis, Kawhi Leonard, KD. Like those 6'7" to 6'10" guys that could do it all for you. Those kind of Shea Gilders, those kind of run the league, bro. A small guard. We haven't seen it done in quite some time. The last time I seen it done was by Steph. Small guard is tough to get it done. And it doesn't help.
I not the one saying that last year?
Listen, man. Jalen Brunson still has my full on 110% support. I just think that we might just need. Hey, you ever seen that Drewski meme? We might just need that 6'7", 6'8" guy, that 2-way guy that does it all. OG Anunoby is cool though, but he doesn't have that full baggage like a Kawhi Leonard, bro. So hey, I'm just saying, if that call is there, if that motion is in play, take it. But hey, don't shoot me. I just want what's best for the Knicks. But we managed to get a whole hour in on this episode too, without even necessarily pre-planning the episode though. But we had a bunch of good takes though. I feel like we got a bunch of good topic in. Yeah, so that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode of It's Debatable. I'd like to thank everybody that sat there and watched us discuss basketball though. I've seen a lot of people joined. Once again, we're going to keep talking basketball. We're getting close to the playoff season, though, so a lot of more NBA takes going. If you haven't checked out our previous episode on just what we talked about last last episode, what did we talk about? I forgot what it is though, but you go check it out though. Tell us what you like, any comments, feedback, whoever wants to join. We're trying to get more collabs though, more podcasts, more content creators to join this platform just because the season of NBA is ramping up now. Now we're in the second half of the season now where games mean a little bit more. Now, playoff positions, MVP races, all of that good stuff though. Once again, appreciate y'all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe for on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. For more information, Justin Jones Facebook. Please do lock in on that too as well. And yeah, appreciate y'all. Anything you want to say, Justin?
Nah, so Seb said all that good stuff. Just follow us on all social media platforms. Thank y'all for watching, man. Playoffs are coming. Make sure to watch Elimination Chamber tomorrow. Right, we will have a recap on that sometime next week. Yeah, man. That's it.
4 letters, 1 word. Stop.